Hello, my name is Tammy, and I'm a Christian deliverance minister. As we count down to the election of President of the United States of America, I am regularly recording a quick little teaching video of what the Bible has to say on subjects. I will bring a word from the Lord and from our time in prayer, and we'll discuss some of the issues surrounding the election. So today I want to talk about some of the ways that our country has walked away from God. And it was very clear in this third and final presidential debate how strongly Donald Trump stood on the side of pro-life, and how strongly Hillary stood against that pro-life. And so I'm going to bring a message about tearing down idols, and how God called Gideon to be a mighty warrior, and how he went and tore down some of the idols. These idols, they sacrificed at these idols. And it wasn't to God, it was to false gods, and particularly the Asherah pole. I'm going to read a little bit about that because it's throughout the Bible where God would be angry at a nation because they put these Asherah poles up, and so God would allow them to be taken into captivity, and then God would eventually give them an opportunity to tear down those altars to false gods, and then he would bring them victory. So I think it's really important to see that God can deliver victory through Donald Trump for our nation, and take us out of the hostage that we have been under as far as these false gods and false religions. So what is an Asherah pole? I'm reading this from gotquestions.org. An Asherah pole was a sacred tree or pole that stood near Canaanite religious locations to honor the pagan goddess Asherah, also known as Astarte. While the exact appearance of an Asherah pole is somewhat obscure, it is clear that the ancient Israelites, after entering the land of Canaan, were influenced by the pagan religion itself. Pagan religion it represented. Okay, there's more here. I'm not going to read all this because I do want to get to the story of Gideon, because there's some important words here that we need to hear. I'm going to start in Judges chapter 6, verse 11. The angel of the Lord came and sat down under the oak in Ophrah that belonged to Joash the Abiezrite, where his son Gideon was threshing wheat in a winepress to keep it from the Midianites. When the angel of the Lord appeared to Gideon, he said, "The Lord is with you, mighty warrior." "Pardon me, my lord," Gideon replied, "but if the Lord is with us, why has all this happened to us? Where are the wonders that our ancestors told us about when they said, 'Did not the Lord bring us up out of Egypt?' But now the Lord has abandoned us and given us into the hand of Midian." The Lord turned to him and said, "Go in strength you have and save Israel out of Midian's hand. Am I not sending you?" "Pardon me, my lord," Gideon replied, "but how can I save Israel? My clan is the weakest in Manasseh, and I am the least in my family." The Lord replied, "I will be with you, and you will strike down all the Midianites, leaving none alive." Gideon replied, "If now I have found favor in your eyes, give me a sign that it is really you talking to me. Please do not go away until I come back and bring my offering and set it before you." And the Lord said, "I will wait until you return." Gideon went inside, prepared a young goat, and from an ephah of flour he made bread without yeast. Putting the meat in a basket and its broth in a pot, he brought them out and offered them under the oak. The angel of God said to him, "Take the meat and the unleavened bread, place them on this rock, and pour out the broth." And Gideon did so. Then the angel of the Lord touched the meat and the unleavened bread with the tip of the staff that was in his hand. Fire flared from the rock, consuming the meat and the bread, and the angel of the Lord disappeared. When Gideon realized that it was the angel of the Lord, he exclaimed, "Alas, sovereign Lord, I have seen the angel of the Lord face to face." But the Lord said to him, "Peace, do not be afraid, you are not going to die." So Gideon built an altar to the Lord there and called it "The Lord is Peace." To this day it stands in Ophrah of the Abiezrites. That same night the Lord said to him, "Take the second bull from your father's herd, the one 7 years old. Tear down your father's altar to Baal and cut down the Asherah pole beside it. Then build a proper kind of altar to the Lord your God on the top of this height. Using the wood of the Asherah pole that you cut down, offer the second bull as a burnt offering." So Gideon took 10 of his servants and did as the Lord told him. But because he was afraid of his family and the townspeople, he did it at night rather than in the daytime. In the morning, when the people got up, there was Baal's altar demolished, with the Asherah pole beside it cut down, and the second bull sacrificed on the newly built altar. They asked each other, "Who did this?" When they carefully investigated, they were told Gideon, son of Joash, did it. The people of the town demanded of Joash, "Bring out your son, he must die, because he has broken down Baal's altar and cut down the Asherah pole beside it." But Joash replied to the hostile crowd around him, "Are you going to plead Baal's case? Are you trying to save him? Whoever fights for him shall be put to death by morning. If Baal really is God, he can defend himself when someone breaks down his altar." So because Gideon broke down Baal's altar, they gave him the name Jerubbaal that day, saying, "Let Baal contend with him." Now all the Midianites, Amalekites, and other eastern peoples joined forces and crossed over the Jordan and camped in the valley of Jezreel. Then the Spirit of the Lord came on Gideon, and he blew a trumpet, summoning the Abiezrites to follow him. Now, there's a lot more to this story, and I hope you'll go to Judges and start reading where we just left off, or even before that. But I want you to see the clear contrast between our soon-to-be President Trump and the corrupt Hillary Clinton. And the clear contrast is so obvious when Donald Trump wears an American flag on his lapel, but Hillary doesn't wear an American flag. When Donald Trump gives credit to God and wants to bring the religious freedom into its fullness, instead of in contrast to that, Hillary Clinton wants to take away our religious freedoms. And there's just so much that is so clear that Donald Trump is God's choice. If I didn't hear God and didn't know that he was already saying that Donald Trump is his choice, it's clear anyway, because of how very vastly different they stand on issues important to God. So I just bring this word to you. I ask you to seek the Lord on your own. I pray blessings today in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ.